We're back.
Yes.
Yeah. How has your week been?
Good.
Yeah, we had a road trip.
We did.
Whole family went to Edmonton.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Went to the water slides for the first time.
Yeah,
That was
West
fun.
Edmonton Mall.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and the drive there was actually, I mean, there wasn't that much traffic. We went
No.
through north of Kamloops through Jasper Way, stayed in Valemount on the way there, which was kind of cool, small
Yeah, it was
town,
fun.
but yeah, the scenery was incredible.
Yeah.
So. And then Jasper on the way back,
Yeah.
saw the fire destruction, which was pretty incredible to see,
Yeah.
and the rebuilding. But also we went out not that far from Jasper there to Pyramid Lake,
Yeah, it
right?
was
Which
so
was
pretty.
like pristine.
Yeah.
Amazing. So
Yeah. Fun.
that was good.
Yeah.
All right, so back at it here. I have a couple things. So a couple weeks ago, we were talking about I was feeling really unsettled, you know, and I said I couldn't put my finger on it. I even stopped drinking coffee for a while because I thought it was causing me to be agitated, or I just didn't like. Anyways,
Yeah.
but now I feel settled.
You feel better.
But I don't, and I cannot pinpoint what the difference is or why I felt that way and why I don't feel that way now. I also feel like, and I'm dealing with just as much right now as I was then. It's a very strange thing. And plus, I have been drinking coffee, and I feel settled. So, so it wasn't coffee.
Yeah. Well, that's good. At least we know that.
But it is. I find that very odd to just what I don't, and I like I say, I don't know what the difference is.
Sometimes things are just off.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So I don't know. My logic in my mind is always I'm trying to figure things out so that I can either replicate something or correct something.
Right.
But it is a strange thing to not be able to pinpoint and say, oh, well, I felt that way because I was doing this. My routine was the same, going to wake up, do the same things, go to the gym. But anyways.
Feeling better.
Yeah, like it's a weird thing because when I was feeling like I was unsettled, it was almost like having not really butterflies, but like that feeling like anxiety. Exactly, anxiety. Which I wasn't dealing with anything extraordinarily that was stressful. I wasn't doing things that were different. I wasn't like pushing myself any differently. But it was definitely, I just felt like unease, like just it was weird. So anyways, feel good now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
Keep on trucking, but
that's good.
Yeah, so that's good. So feeling good. One of the topics that I thought, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. So asking people for advice.
Okay.
And then how much weight do you put on that advice that people are giving you?
Depends who you're asking, I'd say.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't take advice from somebody that I don't look up to, or if I say if I was gonna get advice from someone on business stuff, I would only get advice from someone that I look up to, or I'd want to be where they are with their business.
Right.
I wouldn't take advice from somebody where they're not even where I want to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. So if they've done what it is that you're asking the advice on, you would take that.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because I looked up the numbers on this, and it's interesting because people are often, whether you ask for their advice or not, they're sometimes just open to give it, right?
Yeah, right.
And so the numbers are that 90% of the time that you get advice, it's not good advice.
Really?
90%.
90%.
And so and the reason is that I bring this up is because we're influenced by the people that are around us, right?
Yeah.
So if someone sees you out doing something and they just give you advice on it, it affects, and it, to different degrees of, I guess, that it would affect you, but someone just makes a comment, right? And you're like, oh, I never thought of that, right? 90% of the time, whatever they said is unrelated, which is off track and should not be taken into account at all.
That's interesting.
90%.
90%. That's
unless
a big number.
that person has done the exact thing that you're doing, you should almost completely disregard what it is that they say.
Right. Interesting.
90% of the time.
Careful who you take advice from.
Yeah. Because people just talk and they like to share. Because the big point of it is, and when I was reading about this, it said that when people offer their advice, they think about the one instance that if they were in a situation similar, that how it happened to them. And you shouldn't take advice from somebody that had a one-off situation that's similar to yours. You want to take advice from somebody that had 1,000 situations that are like yours, because they have multiple pieces of experience to speak from. So if someone's just speaking from one experience, they could have just got lucky and it went that way, or they could have been unlucky and it went the other way.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that because when I did it, it happened this. And then you'd be like, well, how many times did you try? And they're like, once.
Yeah.
So if they only tried once and it worked, they'd be giving false advice. And the same thing, if they only tried once or a few times and it didn't work, also false advice.
Yeah.
So I found that interesting.
That is interesting. 90%.
Yeah. So just stop listening to what anybody has to say.
Guess so.
Unless they're a true expert, right?
Yeah.
And then also know that if you're giving out advice, like, be careful what you're saying, because our words would be influencing the person that we're talking to, which could be total BS. It's just from our own experience. And if our own experience is a very limited experience, it shouldn't hold any weight. Right? So, because I feel like a lot of times we take advice from people either that we look up to or that's some kind of a mentor. And if they're giving advice on something that they are an expert in, that's one thing. But if that person is giving you advice on something that they don't really know anything about, even though they're an expert in other areas, that doesn't mean that they're an expert in that. They don't have the experience there to really speak on it, right? So they're just giving their opinion at that point.
Yeah.
Right?
I know, and that's like the problem with social media these days.
Oh.
It's like everyone is giving their opinion or advice on something, and
a lot of it is just on the hot topics. So they're like, oh, this is trending right now, so I'm going to give my 2 cents on it, when they haven't experienced it. They don't know anything about it, but they're trying to get likes and views, right? Which is crazy, but that's just the way that it is. So I found that really interesting. So I'm just just stop listening to what other people say.
All right.
Yeah. Even if they write a book, sometimes there's people that write books that haven't lived it, right? And it's that whole thing between knowing something and doing.
Right.
There's a huge difference. Like, you can in the business of real estate, you can know how to write a contract to sell a house, to write a contract, right? You could learn that, write it. But it's a whole different set of skills to actually sell a house and get from start to finish, right? So anyways, there's so many people out there giving advice, especially when it comes to sales or life skills or anything. And especially because I've been watching a lot on the eating and, and what kind of foods. And it's like, you get these people that are giving advice about their meal plan and whatnot, and you can tell by looking at them, like, they're not in great shape. So, and because I have learned, my experience also been the same thing, that whether being in good shape is like 90% to do with what you consume, and maybe 10 to 15% with actual physical activity. So if someone is sitting there and saying, well, you should eat this or whatnot, giving their advice on that, I really disregard a lot of the information that's out there.
That's good, because there's so much information.
Disinformation. Yeah, it's crazy. So my Wednesday wisdom is, be very careful of who you're getting advice from, or the weight that you put on that advice that you receive, because if it's true, 90% of the time, the advice is bad advice for you in your situation. And so, I was also looking into the idea of the kind of like the road to high achievement, or the road to the top, or operating at not an elite level, but at a higher level than what most people are at. And the numbers on that are that only about 3 to 5% of the population are people that are the type that are driven enough to do what it takes, or even have the desire to want to do what it takes, or to even attempt to do things that would lead to a higher level of achievement.
Right.
And so is the road to high achievement a lonely one? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just like if you're asking people for advice, most of the people that you're going to come across and you're looking for support in your endeavor to do more, most of them don't care. Like 80% of the population is just happy to just not exist, but just kind of be status quo, like good enough, right? Like they're like, why would I do more? Why would I wake up that early? Why would I talk to so many people?
Yeah.
Why would I restrict my eating? Why would I go to the gym? Why would I go for a run?
Yeah.
That's how most people think. And so one thing that always used to frustrate me, and which doesn't as much anymore, but I'm aware of it, is the expectation that the people around me, whether at work or at home or anywhere in life, would just do things because they need to be done.
Right.
But most people don't think about that.
No.
They're not looking to go out of their way to do extra.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Yeah. They're not even aware of it, right?
No. Yeah. I think people are focused on themselves.
Right. But to what degree? Like focused on themselves and just content then? Like
some people don't want to be in the elite.
Right.
Like some people just
most people don't
be happy and do the thing. Like happiness is different for everyone. So like some people, doing their work every day and then being done and relaxing and like doing whatever, that's good enough for them. Some people, it's not.
Right.
Like,
so it would frustrate me because my thought process was, well, of course everybody would want to be better. Like, wouldn't you want to just get better and do more and make more?
Yeah, but no.
No.
I don't necessarily.
Yeah. It took me a long time to kind of realize this.
Like you and I are very different in that like way. Like you, like, I make money because I have to make money to actually live.
Yeah.
And like you do too. But like I don't necessarily want to make money. And that's the difference between you and me. Like I want to frolic in the fields and like live my life.
Right.
And you necessarily...
That doesn't really make sense to me.
No. Like you're like, why wouldn't you go straight to the top and just be, trying to be the best of the best?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, it is. And one way isn't better than the other. I mean, we just live our life. But I find that my thought process has had to change because my expectations of other people, like they just don't want to do that.
No.
And some people
not everyone's going to be like you,
No. Or just want and not to say they don't want achievement. Like they may want to excel within their field.
Like what is achievement to you and success to you is so different from someone else.
For most people, yeah.
Like
right?
so different.
And I don't know why, but
yeah.
But I mean, you just look at the number of books that I've read compared to what an average. They say like the average person once they're out of high school, like a lot of people don't ever touch a book in their life again. Yeah.
He doesn't read for fun.
Yeah, but I didn't read. Well, I started reading probably after when I was in my early 20s, maybe 23, 24, 25. I started getting into reading a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I saw value in that.
Yeah.
And so I consume a lot of information.
And like you don't read fiction. You read.
No, I don't read for entertainment.
You read self-improvement only.
Yeah, I read to learn.
Look at this man's bookcase upstairs.
I read to learn.
It is just all self-improvement.
Yeah. Well, I like a little bit. Yeah, business, finance.
Yeah, business, getting better.
There's some biographies. I like to read about people's story, about how they got what they got.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no...
I like to read about like cutesy romance.
Yeah.
Or like,
You won't find any cutesy romance on my bookshelf. But
no, definitely not. But that's okay. Everyone's different.
Yes. Yeah. But I think, say, if I had the expectation that everybody wants to be on the same path as me, and that would frustrate me. It would take some of my energy because I'd be like, why are they not?
Yeah, why aren't they going the same
way? Why aren't they doing this? Like, how can they not see? Like, how can't you just see? Or it's like when something needs to be done, like there's certain things at work where it's just like, that needs to be done. You should just do it. Right. And yet people aren't doing it. Yeah. And I'm just like, that seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, but why? We already did it. Or like, no one else is going to do it, so why should we do it, right? It's like when there's a piece of garbage on the floor and 100 people will walk past it.
Yeah.
Like, that is insane. Like, I would pick it up. I would put it in the trash. So, you know, anyways, I find that interesting. So, yeah, because really, like, 80 to 85% of the general population are operating more on a passive existence rather than a driven achievement existence.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, okay, here's my question for you.
Yes.
Explain to me what is success to you? Like, what is success to you?
So I have a high relationship of success to money. So that's just, and it's always been like that. So so it's going to be income, net worth, and that. Like, just doing something for the sake of doing it. So even like exercising and working out and eating is all in the back of my mind geared towards higher achievement and earning more money. To being in a better state of mind, feeling better, and being able to better do my job for that.
Right.
To be able to see opportunities, to be able to work through things. So it's all kind of tied in together.
Money. Take money out of it. What is success to you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, but it's like, it's kind of, it's related to a bit like personal achievement, right? Yeah, it is. I don't know. I like things. I like nice things.
Yeah, material world.
Not really, not in that
I'm
sense.
just kidding.
I like quality, no junk.
Yeah.
So I don't just need, I'm not accumulating stuff.
Yeah.
But
quality things.
I like quality over quantity. But I could like a quantity of quality things. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right? But it's hard. I find I can't just sit. Like, it's very difficult for me to sit idle.
So to
when
you,
there's stuff
like,
to be done.
Being rich is having a lot of money.
I would say, definitely has a financial component to it. For me, my quality of life is, I feel, directly tied to finances.
Why? Because you like nice things?
I don't know. No, and not necessarily, but I don't know. Maybe because I've read so many books on it.
Maybe.
I've been influenced.
It's all that you have in your brain. Yeah.
I don't. That I don't know. And
have you always been like this?
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's always been around money.
Yeah.
Like success.
But yes. Like, I even, like, and just having nice things, like having toys, like just being able to do things, go places, and nicer places. Like, I would rather stay in a nice resort than just staying somewhere, like if I had the choice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to, for me personally, like say like the vehicle I drive, it's not a new vehicle, but it's a nice vehicle, but it's not new. Yeah. So I try to be smart with purchases in that sense, but at the same time, it may make sense to just go, like one of my real estate coaches, and I found this interesting, we were having a conversation, and this was early on in my real estate career, a real estate coach, Larry Kozak. And he said to me, he asked me what type of person I was, and he said for some salespeople, to be motivated and driven, they need to have their back up against the wall. Okay, and so he said, my advice to some salespeople would be to, if you want to have a brand new Escalade, go buy it, whether you can afford it or not. And having that will be the motivation for you to go out and work hard and achieve success and create sales.
Me.
Okay, that's one portion.
Yeah.
And he said, however, there's other salespeople that if they did that, it would be absolutely crippling.
Right.
And they wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning because of the pressure and the stress that creates.
Right.
So he said to me, where are you? And I said, I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't want to put myself in the position
where
just with back up against the wall to do it. But at the same time, if you don't have the motivation to get up and go and do hard things, then why would you go do hard things?
Yeah.
So in my situation, I think I create an environment that forces me to go out and do these hard things.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely.
Versus not. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that I have a higher level of personal satisfaction as a result, even though that brings along pressure and stress and all the things to that. I would rather have that scenario and the opportunity to have more and do better than to be, I don't want to say easy street, but like to just not exist. That's the wrong word too, but just to be. Just be. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and whether, I mean, that's what, at least right now at this point in my life, what motivates me to go out and do things. But yeah.
Don't you think you should have hobbies though?
Like what? I mean,
like what do you do for enjoyment that has nothing to do with your job, success, just like...
I mean, I go golfing.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a great golfer.
But you don't do that often.
No. But again, because I'm naturally an introvert, I have to force myself to go out into public, into social situations.
But you don't have to do social hobbies. What about quiet hobbies?
I mean, I'd mow the grass, like... Is that a hobby?
Sure. Sure.
I like the lines like perfectly straight.
I know, you spend a lot of time on your...
That's something.
Your lawn.
It's green. It's nicely green.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't know. That's not really all. I like to wash and shine my car, my truck.
Okay.
Does that count?
Sure.
See, I do that. That's alone.
That's alone,
I just do that by myself. I get satisfaction out of that.
You enjoy that? Okay, well that's good. I think it's important to have
What hobbies like knitting? Like no.
No, that is a hobby, but you don't knit.
No.
No, just like I just think it's important to have that separation of like things that you need to do and things that you just choose to do because you enjoy them, because you only live once and like you got to do things you enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, I like going to the lake, but for short periods of time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade off. This is just personally my opinion. I would not trade. I wouldn't make the trade to give up earning money to having leisure time.
Really?
Well, not right now. I haven't achieved the goals that I've set. So.
Okay. If someone was like, you do not, like, you can just go and, like, have all the free time in the world and you don't have to worry about money or, like, doing anything, I'd pack my bag and I'd be out of there, like, so quick.
I think if that happened to me and I went there and I was in that situation, within a few hours of being in that situation, I'd be like, how can I create an opportunity here to like, make this better or do more?
Yeah,
or
no. I'd be so happy.
Make it, yeah.
Like, I don't want to make money. That's awful. Like, I'm just a girl. Like, I just want to...
You're just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
Yeah. But most people aren't motivated that way.
Yeah. No, like, seriously, like, if I didn't have to make money, like, I wouldn't make
That's what
like,
most people would say.
Like,
most people would rather not go to work.
Do not, like, money doesn't motivate me. Like, when I used to do serving even, like, when someone was like, oh, you could work late, I'd be like... I don't want to. Like, oh, do you want extra money? No.
See, that's funny to me.
I'd be like, see ya.
That is a perfect example. If somebody came to me and said, hey, Kirk, if you work this weekend, we'll pay you double overtime, 100%, I'm working the whole weekend.
Yeah, and I'd be like, see ya.
I'm going to the lake. I'm going to the beach, right? Yeah. No, I would be like, oh, perfect. Yes, I'm in. Like, is it?
Like, I'm the last person, like, if they were like, oh, we really need someone to, you know, take on this extra work, I'd be the last person to offer.
Yeah.
Because I really like my free time.
I wouldn't do it if there wasn't something in it for me. I mean, if someone truly needed help, that's different. But if it was like, oh, we need you to stay, but there's no benefit to you, then I'd probably be like, no, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want me...
Like, if Saturdays and Sundays didn't exist, which they already really don't for you, but,
Right.
like, you'd be fine to work 7 days a week.
Yes.
That's insane.
It's not, yeah. But I'm on a track to achieve stuff. And
Yeah.
And what's also really interesting with this conversation is what I have learned so much over the last, I would say probably over the last 2 to 3 years, is how much what I eat and what I do and my routine, how much that affects
What you do.
how productive I can be
Yeah.
during the day and that. And so like pretty much eliminating alcohol, like
Yeah.
99%,
Yeah.
that
For sure.
has had a huge impact. Cutting way down on sugar consumption,
Yeah.
huge impact. And then actually the biggest one is sleep, like consistent sleep, like
I know,
the
I need to
minimum
work on
7 to 8 hours.
7 to 8.
Huge.
Okay, but here's the issue though. Women are supposed to get 9 to minimum
Well,
9 to 10 hours.
Okay, well I
a
guess
night.
who says, but
The studies
just
say.
people say,
No.
these people that are
every
giving
year,
90% bad.
No,
Okay, well,
literally every sleep
sure.
study that has ever been done on women, or no, every sleep study that has ever been done has been tested only on men up until last year.
Well, I'm not. So then, are you getting 9 to 10 hours of sleep?
No, I'm not. It's not good.
Well, see, just imagine how great your life could be if you were just
I
doing
know,
that
I
one
need
thing.
to go to bed.
But if you don't care, like, not to say you
Yeah.
don't care, but if that's not important to
Yeah.
you,
Well, also, like, I feel like everything is run on a man's clock, so we're kind of screwed.
oh, it's a man's world.
It is.
Oh, you're so hard done by.
It is, and I will die on this hill. You do not get to have an opinion on this.
All right.
Oh gosh, it's true. That's my opinion.
Well,
You can have yours.
but again, if you said the percentage, if you took the percentage of the population that are motivated and driven to go and achieve and create, and if that percentage is more largely men, then they are the ones that are creating that system that we all have to operate on. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong,
Totally.
but that's how it got created in the first place, probably. And anyways,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting conversation.
So anyways, that's so
No, it's good. It's
be
good to
careful
talk
who you
about
get
these
your
things.
advice from.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, don't be disappointed if the people who are around you
Aren't on the same path.
aren't trying to achieve at a high level, because
Yeah.
they just don't care, and that's okay. And then, yeah, most people are just happy doing what most people do.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Everyone's doing their own thing.
but it's kind of the same.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
sort of, yeah.
Like watching Netflix,
Yeah.
eating kind of okay, having a good time, having a few drinks, social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I think there's things that we could be doing better as humans. That are
Well, I
like
mean,
most of us. Like
no
there's some
question.
things that should be changed.
And it's not to say that one is maybe the 80% that are just not existing, but like just
Yeah,
doing
doing
the
their thing.
average kind of life are the smart ones,
Yeah.
right? They're not
Guess we'll never know
dealing with all the headaches that,
that you're dealing with.
well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think I would trade it personally, though. I wouldn't trade it back.
Well, it's good.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's it for today. Good conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, so have a great week. And we'll see where we're at a week from now. And
Yeah. See how you're feeling.
Yeah, if
Up
I'm
or
still
down.
settled or unsettled.
Yeah.
The course of achievement. Okay, awesome. Thanks again for watching.